Hi, hello, dzień dobry. Witamy ponownie w pięknym i wspaniałym podcaście
Pauliny.
i Derlisa. Zapraszamy dzisiaj jak zwykle, bardzo dobrych tematów. Będziemy odpowiadać na wszystkie pytania, a Paulina będzie komentować na bieżąco.
Będzie śmiesznie.
Wait, what?
Welcome back, guys.
Nice to be back. So today we're going to go through some Reddit stories, so stick around, you know?
Yay.
The first one being, and just FYI, they're going to get a little dark. So just because it's October, and you know?
Spooky vibe.
Yeah. I don't know about spooky. This is dark.
Just dark,
Yeah,
like deep.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so the first story goes with, what's your no good deed goes unpunished story?
Okay.
Okay. First of all, do you understand what that means?
No.
Okay. When you do a good deed and it goes punished.
Okay,
Yeah,
so your intentions are good, but then something
it
happens
goes
that
bad.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Okay.
explanation.
Yeah, no problem. I know the listeners need an explanation. Cause you dumb. You watch us. Pick any words? No. Okay, cool.
What a
cool.
litmus test.
Yeah.
You watching the show? Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
probably need to. break this
Yeah,
down
you
for
got low IQ. There it is. All right, so when my best friend and I were 19, we worked at the same bar, and one of our coworkers was this creep in his late 30s. He constantly flirted with my friend, and once he even said good girl to her and tried to brush her cheek with his thumb after she nailed the cocktail. I know you get like a little yeah, anyways. She reported him to the boss, but for some reason she was the one that got fired and not him. In an attempt to get even with this dude, I stalked his social media, discovering he had a wife and kid the whole time, despite my friend asking me not to. I messaged his wife about what happened. I expected some big blowout, but he appeared completely unfazed at work. I assumed his wife didn't care for some reason, but a week later, I overheard him mentioning that his wife left him and she said he'll never see his child again. I told my friend and she was furious at me at first. But after a while, she calmed down and found it hilarious. She even sent the guy a message teasing him about what had happened.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They say never underestimate a man with nothing left to lose. And I should have listened to that because a week later, my best friend was found in that same guy's trunk. He unalived himself shortly after. If I never got involved, my best friend's mother would have never have to grieve her loss. And I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life. I
What?
told you, not spooky, dark.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah, I told Vic that story. He had the same reaction.
Yeah.
And I actually was just like, maybe I shouldn't tell these stories, but I think it's important that like you discuss these things because a lot of people don't think about the consequences or the reaction that other people will have and will do because some people will like nothing left to lose. Fuck it.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, that's insane to me. I mean, listen, I, as somebody who has been in restaurant industry for 10 years now, well, more than that, I guess. I see the creepy guys and I experience them myself, but and as much as I would love to ruin somebody's life like that, right? Because like if you're creepy and you have a wife and and kids, why would you even approach me that way, right? I think I'm mature enough not to do so because like their consequences of that might be tragic, like in
Absolutely.
her case. So people are capable of a lot of things and you can expect that from people that you would normally not expect it from. If it comes like am I understanding this the right way? Like he lost his wife, right? Like
His wife left him and
Yep.
he took the child and was gone.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, what else is there to lose? Exactly. Right?
I mean, your life at that point, it's kind of crazy that he would. I don't know. I mean, I would just try to better myself, but obviously this guy's a messed up dude already, and it's just like, yeah, after that.
Did he deserve to be left? 100%.
Yeah.
But to go to
know.
that extent to murder that girl's.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the worst part was that once she found out, she went and poured salt in his wounds
Oh,
by
yeah.
taking ownership of it and
Yeah.
teasing him about it. That's really what sent him probably way over, because
yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
sounds like he was going to work and he was doing his thing.
Yeah.
Because she said he didn't seem physically distraught.
Yeah.
You know. So, but then you get to the person who's like, "Oh, I'm the reason I ruined your life," when she actually wasn't even the reason.
Yeah, she wasn't really, yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't
Yeah.
even the reason, but she decided to take it fully on her, and
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like it's a fine line with these people. Like you want to keep them in check and like react to their creepiness in a way, but at the same time you have to be careful what you say and do because
I mean,
you're
what do
gonna
you
end
guys
up in a trunk.
what do you guys think of the saying? Because I feel like it applies to this: 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, you know what? I but sometimes you get away with it. That's what
Right.
I will say with everything. Like, because everybody's always just like, oh, be a good person and work hard, and it doesn't mean you're gonna get rich. And some
Right.
rich people are pricks.
Yeah, they
and
really
it's
Oh,
just like,
that's true.
so
Yeah.
that's why I just
Good karma does not equate to good
Yeah.
lifestyle.
No.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm just like at with that. It's just like, there's evil people that get ahead in the world, and there's
Right.
good people that suffer.
But
And
don't-
it sucks. But, what I get from this story and basically is like, because I've met a lot of women that, they'll, feel disrespected, and
Mhm.
understandably so. You're right to feel disrespected.
Right.
But sometimes it's not worth
Worth
it to
reacting to
go
it.
that extra distance just to feel like you got back, and now you're
Yeah. You're putting yourself in danger at the end of the day
Yeah,
because you don't know what that person might do. So I agree
exactly.
with that.
Yeah. So
It's
that's a cautionary tale for all you out there that are looking like, I'm gonna do that extra thing, and it's just like, yeah, be careful.
Yeah, really. Jeez.
Yeah. But there you go. That's
That was a dark one for
yeah.
sure. Wow.
Yeah. It was like, oh, let's do a funny one now, please. No. We have one more super dark one I
Okay.
want to run through. All right. So it is, have you ever dated a diagnosed sociopath? Because a lot of women think they have. And it's just like, well, let's get to the bottom of this story and
Oh,
see.
geez.
Yeah. In my senior year of high school, I dated a guy named John, and within 2 weeks, he managed to ruin my entire life.
2 weeks. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a quick worker.
Yep.
Efficient.
Yeah. A close friend of mine had ended up in the hospital after falling and hitting her head, and she went to a coma with doctors unsure if she'd survive. I had to fly to her state to go and be with her in the hospital in case she passed away. I told John about this, but he absolutely flipped out and even tried to barricade the door to prevent me from leaving. I went anyway, but while I was at my friend's hospital bed, he bombarded me with texts threatening to end our relationship if I didn't respond ASAP. One day I stopped responding to him completely as it was getting out of hand. Well, the very next day, John showed up at the hospital my friend was at. I told my friend's parents that he was a friend of their daughter. I never told him her name, and I still don't know how he found it, but I didn't want to make a scene, so I played it off. Eventually, we all decided to go get lunch, and while we were eating, John randomly disappeared. When we got back to the hospital room, my friend was dead. Her life support had been unplugged. I checked my phone, and there was a message from John reading, "I did what I had to do. She was keeping me from you. Nobody keeps me from my love." John was given 18 years, charged as an adult. Oh, wait. John was 18, so he was charged as an adult and received 20 years. Yeah.
Obsession. Weird. Yo, that is crazy.
Yeah.
So extreme, violent, or emotional outburst is the first red flag for
Yeah.
anyone
Yeah.
who's not mentally
Yeah, I mean,
stable.
I feel so sorry for her because she, like, in that position, like, I would have probably done the same thing where it's just like, oh yeah, he's a friend of your daughter's. It's like, and it's just
Whatever,
like
yeah.
I don't want to make a scene right now. It's
Right.
like in this whole situation, and it's just like, and you don't think that he's gonna go Like I generally,
that extent, yeah.
who would think like, oh, they're about to go do this, off somebody just because, it's just like crazy. But what people do is just they. I'm not sure if he's a psychopath or a sociopath. Vic, do you know the difference in those two? Did you
I
look
can
this
find
up?
out in just a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah.
But I will
Yeah.
say though that
Yeah.
like she really downplayed the fact that he got upset and tried to barricade the door. That's not a small
That's
thing.
Yeah.
That is
that's not.
and especially if they're only like dating, like
Yeah.
your friend's in the hospital. But he said
Yeah.
it sounds like he went into I'm losing you mode because someone is about to get more attention than I get,
That is crazy.
which is a huge red flag that
Yeah,
should be watched
we
out
really
for.
just need to be more awake, I would say, if it comes to dating.
Mhm.
Don't ignore not small, but don't ignore little, like you would think they're little signs, but the second someone does something like this, you would not like just drop them. Don't even continue. Because even from my experience, one of my relationships, like it started pretty crazy. I'm somebody who is not like, you're not gonna control me. You guys know that.
Yeah.
But
Diva.
no, it's just like it has to be reasonable.
Yeah,
If
of
you know,
course,
for
of
me
course.
to be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go there or
Yeah.
something like that, right? But in one of my relationships, I remember having an argument, and I was trying to leave because the argument
Yeah.
wasn't going anywhere, and the person was getting like aggressive in a way. Like
Mm.
at the time, I didn't think, he would have put his hands on me, which he didn't, but like he was like punching walls around me, and I was just like, okay, like this is the time for me to leave. He wouldn't fucking let me go. He like, and then I run outside,
Yeah.
like his mom was like, oh no, just stay, just don't argue, like
Yeah.
just calm down, super defensive, not defensive, passive, no, what's the word I'm looking for, like just like be smarter, right?
Yeah.
Like just don't get involved in the argument and he will calm down. But like why? You know what I mean? Like I wasn't raised that way. So like if someone's attacking me,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna attack back right away, but I'm just gonna be like, what the hell? Like let me step outside and have a breather. You have your own breather, and then we can reconnect and resolve an issue. But like he wouldn't let me leave the house, and then I ended up leaving the house and going in my car and trying to like leave and go home.
Yeah.
And he like fucking stood in front of my car to the point that I almost hit him with the car. And I was like, get away. Like, I want to go home. Like, I felt like I wasn't able to leave. And then that should have been the only sign for me. And I should have never fucking stayed with this man. But I stayed, and then things got
Because
worse.
you're
and
a
things
ride or die. So
Jeez.
that's why I question that term from you. It's just like,
not
don't
anymore.
do
no,
that.
not
Don't do
anymore.
that.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
I mean, there were
Boundaries.
more incidents where like I would pick him up and because he was drunk and he was supposed to get a ride and he didn't get a ride home. So now I am getting involved and I have to rearrange my whole day to pick his ass up. I pick him up. I said something that he didn't like. He punches through my sunroof while I'm driving.
That's pretty boss, though. I'll say, like punching
That's
through a
a
whole
sunroof.
sunroof.
No, so
like,
it was an accident. Like he was punching in my
Accident?
Yeah, right. Like,
no, so what I'm saying is like
Yeah.
he was punching in the what's the front thing of the
The
car?
dashboard.
Dashboard,
Yeah.
yeah. And then like he got mad and he didn't realize that I don't know how he did it, but the sunroof was closed off. So he must have punched so hard that the layer that closes off your sunroof, he punched through it and through the glass. I don't know how is that possible. It was like a superhero
Definitely
moment
not
for me.
I mean,
super
you're
villain.
already, he's already punching. There's nothing in an accident at that
No,
point.
no, but I'm saying like he didn't realize that there was like in his mind he didn't want to punch. I mean, his whole arm was fucked up from it. So it's not like he purposely punched through the sunroof. He was just punching.
I mean, I get what you mean. He's not going to go out to break something.
Right.
But he went out to
he-
punch something.
Yeah. But like, and that's what I mean. Like that's like psychopath moment or whatever we're about to find out the
I
difference.
got it.
But please just don't put up with this shit, guys. Just don't, because I did, and it didn't get me far in that relationship, And I feel like I wasted 3 years of my life with that man.
So Vic, explain to us what
Yeah.
sociopath and
So
psychopath.
psychopaths and
Yeah.
sociopaths, the main differences are, so they both fall under antisocial personality disorders.
Okay.
The main differences is like, so for example, impulsivity.
Yo,
So-
Mike.
Impulsivity. So sociopaths tend to act more impulsive and erratically than psychopaths are more calculated. Relationship wise, sociopaths can struggle while Psychopaths, again, they
Yeah.
can maintain it when they feel a need to.
Okay, I see the
Okay.
difference. Yeah.
Empathy, or psychopaths, they tend to lack a lot. Whereas sociopaths can have limited ability for empathy and stuff. Whereas, and that's the same thing with consciousness. You know, they're known for having no real conscience, but are able to follow social convention when needed. But violence, in that sense, sociopaths tend to react more violently when confronted with their consequences and their actions.
Okay.
And then as far as their origins, they say that psychopaths are born, but sociopaths are made.
Well, that's
Wow.
interesting. That's interesting. I wonder if like you're born a psychopath, then can you be a sociopath?
Well, I think the real difference is sounds like the emotional component. It sounds like psychopaths through and through, they really have no conscience or empathy or emotion to things.
Yeah.
They're just super dry and calculated.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas sociopaths, they have emotions and stuff, but it just gets down to such an apathetic level and they can't control their emotions. So that's why they're more tends to violently react to their consequences because they get emotional about them. They just have no control all over it. And so whereas psychopaths, they're the people who are just cold-hearted, and they just when they say, I'm done with you, and then once they decide murder is an option, they go with it. Whereas sociopaths are the ones who are more likely to just violently murder you in a fit of rage.
You know, like I look back to like American
So
Psycho.
it sounds like he's more of a sociopath.
Sociopath, yeah.
Yeah, but it sounds to me like if you ever seen American Psycho, it's an amazing movie, but like it just details how well a psychopath acts, where it's just like, you know, he's so well calculated to everything
So
he
it's
does.
conscious, right?
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
you're just
It sounds like
going
a
for it.
sociopath like reacts
Okay.
versus a psychopath is like, no, I'm
Premeditated.
planning on all this.
So all the
yeah.
main murderers of the world are psychopaths for the
Well,
most part.
they don't have to be,
No.
because I feel like a psychopath also is smart enough to know I'm not gonna kill this person, you know, because it's gonna there's no good way to kill this person.
I'll say
So-
this: serial killers are probably more likely to be
Right.
a psychopath,
Yeah.
but as far as murders per capita, is more sociopaths than
Okay.
psychopaths
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're emotionally reactive.
Yeah,
and I
it's
think
like,
more murders
yeah.
are in
No,
the heat of
well,
passion
I meant more so like serial
Yeah.
killers, like people that have committed multiple murders.
and not been caught. Like
Yeah.
all of those are probably like because they're calculated, they're planned, they're careful.
I
Like
mean,
the
I
Gilgo
wonder
Beach
if that's
guy?
true. Well, yeah, I hear what you guys are saying because they do calculate some things, but I wonder if all
Well, I wouldn't
serial
say
killer,
all of them.
but that's
obviously,
what
but
it's an interesting
majority.
question of just like because everybody like loves those specials of just like, oh yeah, like John Wayne Gracie and everybody else, you
Real
know.
quick, I'm trying to Google this, and
Yeah.
the very first result for all serial killers, and the first option is Virgos. All serial
Oh,
killers are Virgos.
it makes
I was like-
sense.
Like, that's
it
the
makes
very
sense.
first.
Yeah,
It's above sadistic.
Mm,
Google.
damn.
Damn.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. Definitely interesting topics. Then we're gonna go into story number 3 here, which I think. Do we want to go a little lighter? I got one more darker one that I can
Yeah,
just
do
pull up.
one dark one. Then we lighten things up.
Okay. Police officers of Reddit. What is the most disgusting thing a suspect has ever said to you? I saw the father of a 5-year-old girl whip her with an iron cord because she failed to call him sir one time. After I took
Was he
him,
military?
let's not say that. We don't know him. It could be just a hick out there, you
Okay.
know. So
I'm just curious.
doesn't
Like
say.
disciplinary, like crazy. But
There's just scumbags, you know.
okay.
I saw, after I took him into custody and got help for the child, the mother said, "Why are you arresting him? He has the right to punish our child. It's none of your business. It's a family matter, and you're just making things worse." She became so outraged that I would butt into her family business. She attacked me and she tried to claw my eyes out because it was my fault her husband was going to jail. During his closing arguments, the husband's defense attorney said if the police had just left when they saw it was a family matter, it would have turned out okay. Apparently, okay to this idiot attorney was the child having medical records that showed fractured bone and stitches several times a year from the time the little girl was 1 year old, along with
Oh my
evidence of
God.
intimate assault.
What a-
Hold on. Thankfully, the detectives did their jobs and convinced the DA to charge him and his wife with the little girl's injuries as a separate crime. The jury returned with a guilty verdict less than an hour on all 40 felony charges. He received 40 sentences to be served consecutively, all of that adding up to over 150 years in prison.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
So, like, if it comes to disciplinary
Mhm.
actions with your child,
Mhm.
you all know that I'm from Poland. Like, did I get spanked a few times? 100%. But guess what? It straightened me up to the point that I never made that mistake again.
But
I'm
your
not saying it's
parents,
necessary.
yeah, no, but your parents didn't hit you with
No, that's crazy.
malintention.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
that's insane, obviously. But I'm saying, like, I see sometimes families here that they're like so scared to even
touch their
touch
child.
their kid
Yeah.
because now,
Restrictions.
the restrictions are insane.
Yeah.
But this story is wild. I'm glad he got, what is it, 150 years?
150 years. He's
Good.
basically not gonna see.
Like, do you not love your child? I'm so confused.
No, again, I think this is one question that you should always look into and just interpret. Of just like, what is a parent? What constitutes a parent?
Right.
A parent isn't somebody that really, to me at least, isn't biologically yours, because that doesn't mean like you're a good person. Like, that's just your biological.
Right.
That's your blood.
Yeah.
But a parent is somebody that shows you love and shows you
Guides you
the right.
the right
Yeah,
way,
exactly. A parent is somebody that takes the time and dedicates to that child
Right.
everything that they can and gives them a better life. That's what a parent is to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, because anybody can, they always have that saying, anybody can be a dad, but it takes a man to be a father, kind of thing,
Yeah.
like that. And it's
True.
just like,
I like that saying.
yeah, it's just like, just keeping to that, where it's just like, Vic, any words?
No, I mean, I love that definition of parent. I agree with you fully on that. Yeah, I just think whenever it comes to like, and this involves any relationship,
Mhm.
if you're ever like in a relationship, I think bodily harm, like harm in general, is never an okay thing. Like,
Yeah.
there is such a thing as discipline for
Mhm.
sure, and like people need to be held accountable to their actions, and kids need to learn like there are negative consequences. And I think as a parent, you can mitigate those negative consequences in a safe way that
Of course.
teaches them to avoid real life consequences before
Right.
it's too late, because you could do something that upsets your parents and they may discipline you, but if you
Right.
do that to a stranger, their version of discipline might be way worse.
Way worse, yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
so it's like it is a responsibility of parents to, show that discipline in a safe way. But again, bodily harm and anything to like
That's
that level
insane,
is
though, that
never
story.
okay. And then that's not about disciplining anymore. That's just pure fact abuse. And I understand there's that fine line that
Right.
people have and their interpretations of that, because that applies to verbal and emotional too. There are fine lines in that too as well. So
Yeah, I just, for disciplinary of a child is, I yes, have we become less or more restrictive on just like hitting a child? It's true, and I think
Maybe because that power have been abused
abused by
a lot of parents.
scumbags.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll even
Now,
say
would you, if you saw a
Mm.
child getting spanked in public, would you say
Ooh,
something?
that's a
in
great
public.
question.
Because there are people that think that it's okay, right, to come up to the parent and be like, what are you doing with your child? I mean, for me personally, if a kid gets just spanked just because it's literally flipping the shit in the middle of the park for no reason, I won't say anything. But if I see this constantly happening, where like this mom is just like pulling there's an actual abuse going, then I
Yeah.
probably would have said something.
Yeah.
But if it's
agreed.
just like, get it together,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what do you need at this
Yeah.
moment? Like, why are you throwing a whole tantrum? Depends on the age,
It's
obviously,
very
too. But
nuanced, I think.
would you say something like if you saw?
Honestly, that's a hard one to say something to. I would, because you just walk into a situation that you
Right.
don't know what just happened, and it's just like, well, like, a kid spazzing out. Okay, cool. Like, like that parents, you don't know if they had to deal with that the entire day.
Right.
So it's hard for me to like jump into it. But obviously, if I see like over
Let's say you're observing it for a while now.
well, that's where I'm saying it's like if I see overuse of violence
Right.
on
Yeah.
anybody, then it's like okay, it's
Like,
time to
what's
step up.
going on?
Yeah, like like you see a couple yelling at each other in a restaurant or something like that. Something blows up. I've been in sort of that situation, and it's just like okay, like
Mhm.
It's their
like
business.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not our business. I hope everything's cool, but like that's their business. That's what they have to deal with,
Yeah.
you know. Um, but if he were to touch her in some way, like at that point, it's like okay, now we all as a collective group we have
Should
to
do something.
yeah, because I've been in a subway where like some dude was hitting on a girl, and
She wasn't feeling it.
oh, not at all, and like, it was packed, and it was like
Jesus.
she yelled it out and everybody just turned. Like literally everybody, it was a packed subway car. I felt bad for the dude because it's like on the sense of like he feels embarrassment. So now he feels vindictive in that
Yeah.
sense. So, and I'm sure he wasn't emotionally capable to deal with it the right way. Was it right for him to do, that? No, but I didn't know the situation of like maybe he was asking her something and then like she just mistook it for something else, or like again it could have been just a really bad like flirtatious thing, and
Like,
then
get a hint that she doesn't like it.
yeah, exactly. So I like because I've been in that situation. I had to learn, like there's no class in the world where they're teaching kids of like how to flirt,
Right.
because there's
How to
like
approach.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like I had to learn all that shit. I was an embarrassing kid, and like I remember my brother one time when we went, he took me out to a party because he was older than me, so he took me out, and like I'm still very awkward, and it was like a house basement reggae playing and shit, so I'm just sitting down on the side, and then like I talked to this one girl that's like just sits next to me, and I'm like and I thought it went well. But then afterwards, he approached me and he told me, like at home, it's like, yeah, that girl felt weird with you around. And I was like, I didn't know that.
Right.
Like,
Because she didn't say anything. Yeah.
well, again, I I don't know.
But
Like
that's how you learn, though.
exactly,
Yeah.
and that's the unfortunate situation that we have today, where it's like these kids want to approach women, but now we have this Me Too movement, which respectful, but at the same time, it still doesn't resolve the issue where it's
Right.
just like, how do you approach women the correct way? Luckily, I've been through enough no's and enough like fuck
Right.
ups,
Rejections
but
and stuff.
yeah, but at the same time, I've been in situations where like the girl, yeah, one girl told me, it's like, oh, I thought you were gonna grape me, and I was just like, I don't know where you got that idea, just because I was talking to you and I was just like sad. But again, not to say everybody's wrong in that predicament and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but it's something to be able to understand, and like that's why it's like I think one of those things that like in court of just like you don't know who's innocent,
Right.
and if I don't know all the details, which most of us don't, like don't put yourself to be the judge or
The
God,
judge,
or just
yeah.
like yeah, I know exactly what I would have done. It's just like
No.
like
You don't know
when
the whole story. Yeah.
yeah, and you don't know what you would have done when you're put in that position, because
Right.
if you just walk into it, you're just like I'm just getting a sandwich, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, what?
like I'm not here to, stop a whole, like, cause she could be crazy, and he could just be like, oh, I don't know, I'm just trying to make a point, and then
Right.
things escalated to a crazy degree. So, I try to be understanding at least in that sense, but because it's easy to say, like we've been starting to say, like hindsight 2020. It's easy to say when you look back at things, but when you didn't have all that prevalent information,
Right.
then you're just doing
The
like
best you can.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm just like I don't want to involve myself and put
Right.
like put myself in a predicament
Mm-hmm.
because of some other things like that.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
yeah, very different. All right, guys, we're gonna switch over though and just take a little like lightheartedness, just because I think everybody's been through enough darkness today.
Yeah, seriously.
So yeah.
Some people are messed up.
Yeah, but they're interesting stories though.
Mhm.
It's fun to think about at the very least of all this. So let me switch over to a sweet story that you guys, all of us can just cherish. All right, dads, what was your don't tell mom about this moment? All right, a female coworker of mine was miserable at work one day. I asked her what was wrong. She told me it was her anniversary and she knew her husband had forgotten. She had preteen girls at home during summer vacation. I knew her home phone number. I called her home number and one of the kids picked up. I explained to the kid who I was and that she needed to call her dad at work and remind him it was mom and dad's anniversary and don't tell mom or dad I called. The next day, she was all smiles. Gosh, she did remember. He brought home flowers and took her to dinner. Mission accomplished. Not a word was ever said about this until 6 years later when she left the company. She gave me a hug at a farewell lunch and whispered, "My kids ratted you out. Thank you." Yeah. So I think that's a very sweet story and kind of saves, from the previous. Like there are good people out
There
there,
are
you know,
good, yeah.
you know,
I love
because
that.
yeah, like
Little
sometimes.
things.
Oh, of course. And Vic, I mean, if that ever happened to you, like you just got bless your stars because at the same
He's a
time,
true hero.
yeah, because at the same or she, I don't know, I think it was a he. I
I
think it
thought
was.
it sounded like a he.
It sounded like it, but because sometimes we do forget about other people, so it's a nice like for somebody to just like, oh shit, you're having a bad day. And I found out why. Let me not even, I'm not trying to get a reward out of this.
Right.
I
Yeah.
just want this to be resolved in the best way possible.
Love it.
Yeah. And God forbid, like that situation turned into, what's it called? Like that was the nail in
straw
the,
that broke the camel's
yeah,
back.
like
Yeah.
imagine
in the
that
relationship.
that's why they got divorced. And that's some crazy thing to think about. It's like, you never know when it's the last time of something, that's why you got to treat your first like your last kind of thing
Yeah.
like that.
Same goes to the days. You don't know if tomorrow is not promised. So
Yeah.
you gotta live in the moment more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you ever done something like that? Like you saved somebody from impeccable situation that's just like, oh shit, like, without any like thought to yourself
I can't think of it right now.
because she's a terrible person.
No. I can't think of it. I feel like I try to make people's
You do.
days daily.
You do.
And
Yeah.
it's just part of me now.
Yeah.
So I don't really like remember things,
Yeah.
but if I do see someone upset, automatically it's like, all right,
Yeah.
how can I make the day better, or like how can I make you feel better? I have so much nurturing energy.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to like bring up
A moment.
a moment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I really try to do this daily. Vic, can you bring something up, you
Not
think?
something specific, but I definitely know I've done that for like friends, especially friends that are in couples, where I'm
Oh,
like
okay.
talking to one or the other, and
then
they
you
like
encourage
share something like
positive-
that. I'm like, either I encourage something that I know is like, oh, okay, you don't know this in the background, but they're actually like the blah, right? Like they're thinking they're forgetting
Aw.
something. That. And then sometimes it's also like reminding other people of other things too.
That's one thing I hate about surprises as a whole. It's just like because you're trying to hold something back,
Mhm.
and then people like sort of sense like something, and then they
Yeah.
think the worst of it,
Right.
and it's just
Yeah.
like I'm actually doing like a
Something
surprise
good,
for
yeah.
you, like,
Yeah.
and then you think it's like bad.
I sense that right away too. Like
Yeah.
if someone, you just have to be a good liar, unfortunately, if you're trying to surprise somebody.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Is
I've-
it something like a good liar? Is it even a thing? But I am such a detective. It's so hard for somebody to ever surprise me.
Oh, I got one for you. Because one thing I would say, I'm also very appreciative, like when you have a partner or somebody like that, becoming friends with their friends,
Oh
because then
yeah.
their friends become your agents.
Yes.
You know,
Mm.
and I remember when I was starting to date Iluza early on, when she went back to Turkey, she was doing a semester abroad there in the beginning of our long distance. I got connected with her friend kind of briefly on some video calls.
Mhm.
And then I found her on Instagram. I messaged her. I had this idea where I sent her some money so she can go get a bouquet of flowers
Aw.
and then leave it on Iluza's bed in their shared room because they were roommates at the time.
Mm.
And with a note written from me.
Right.
And then I wanted her to just play like dumb the whole time.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, this just got delivered somehow, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
It ended up here, and
Aw.
then put like a secret camera. She goes like,
Aw.
I put a tall order on this girl,
Love
Yeah.
it.
but she accomplished it beautifully.
Love it.
She came back from her class. She saw the flowers.
Were you
she
worried
read the
that this
note.
was gonna go like
I was
sideways
like,
at
if
some
it was
point?
gonna like, you
Yeah.
know, either get caught in the act or she couldn't keep the secret. I don't know. Like, I didn't know this girl, and there was a language barrier. Like, I'm Google translating here and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And,
Wow, that's risky, but
and
it
Yeah.
worked out. I love it.
yeah, so with all that, and it's obviously like this girl doesn't know me very well, so she's putting a lot of trust in me for her friend.
Aw,
You know,
that's
because I'm
cute.
just like this guy from America.
Yeah.
You know,
But that's cute though. Like I feel like if I was her, I would do the same. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're trying to do something super cute for a girl that I love as a friend. I'm gonna make it happen. You know, like I'm gonna help out.
the best thing
case.
about that surprise is she never knew the friend was involved till like a couple years later when I
Oh,
told
I
her.
love it. That's awesome.
Nice.
I on the
Okay.
other hand of that story quickly, and like I agree with like getting close to your like girlfriend's friends, but so what happened to me once, like a not so great surprise because this guy who I talked to for a few months, he knew my best friend Ashley.
Of course.
And the point of the story is like don't introduce your friends too soon to the person you talk to, because he was trying to like surprise me, show up to Long Island on a whole like oh, I'm coming to visit you, I'm gonna pull up to Paulina's job.
Surprise
Ashley, I need your
visits.
help with this. And Ashley's like, I don't think she has time for you. Like, to be nice, like instead
Yeah.
of just being like Paulina's not interested in you, because
Yeah.
technically like I should be the one saying that, right?
Yeah,
We're all
yeah.
adults. But she was trying to just kind of like give him a hint, like, hey, Paulina is so busy in the summer. If you show up at her job, I promise you she's not gonna be like so excited. She's gonna be like, what the hell? What are you doing here? You know what I mean? So introducing your friends to someone that you just started talking to, it's not the greatest idea, because they'll try to surprise you, but you might not want that surprise, you know? Just like an off topic kind of. I was like, oh, they're great surprises, but then they're terrible surprises. So
But wasn't that sounds like an example of because your friend knew him, he saved you from getting a surprise that wouldn't have.
oh
worked
yeah,
out.
she saved it, but he was trying to get all the information from her, like
Yeah.
oh,
Well, it's
like
a good thing he tried to, because this way he got
Imagine-
the right information.
yeah, oh my god, imagine if he I would be like,
Because
what
if
the
he
fuck?
didn't know your friends, he might have just done it.
Yeah, and I'll be like, go home.
I feel like I didn't have I do that exactly, but what I did do was I got some girl jewelry, which I didn't know this girl well enough. I'd never taken her on a date, and I was like, I learned that lesson. I was like, yeah, don't give people like big gifts in the beginning. Like, you know, like do something simple, do something small, and then
Acts of
see
service,
if it
Equitable.
even connects. Huh?
Equitable to the amount of time.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Which again, that was I had a lot to learn, you know, when it comes down to it. But I learned. Luckily, you gotta
You know
take
what's the worst about
What?
this quickly?
Go.
I have a friend that took another friend of mine. They were like talking for a little, and he took her away on vacation, and then he threw this shit in her face when she said like, hey, I'm not trying to date you. Like, I appreciate you taking me on vacation, but like I'm not. Like, she was very intentional. She said from the beginning. And then he was like, well, I took you to this and there. And I'm like, bro, if you're doing this to throw things in the other person's face, please don't do that, because that's just wrong.
Have you ever thrown something in somebody's face?
And only in the argument when they threw something in my face. So it was almost like a bounce back. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, I do this, and this for you. I'm like, oh, okay, I do this, and this for you. Like, what are we doing here? Like, aren't we
Tit for
supposed to do
tat.
things for each other? I never do acts of service to then remind you unless I absolutely have to, because you're misbehaving in a way, right? Like, if you're acting out for no reason,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, hey, like, really? Because let's just straight up say some facts here. Like, that's when
Yeah.
that could be like throwing some, things in somebody else's face when I'm stating the facts to remind you, because you're wilding out right now. But like, I don't like to throw things in people's faces, because I've been on the other side of the table, you know?
On that note, this is a great for the next portion of this story. So let me just go into that. What is your never interrupt an enemy while they're making a mistake moment? All right.
Okay.
I was doing a mortgage for a French guy in Miami Beach that had a French realtor, even though both were completely fluent in English. She frequently spoke in French, having no idea I spoke French. When they settled on a property and we were riding the elevator down from the condo, she told him that, look, these guys are scumbags and they're going to screw you over, and I have a much better person that you can work with. Towards the end of the ride, I say in fluent French that we would be happy to compare our proposals with whatever her people can come up with, but certainly we would like to work with him on this and his investments. He starts laughing his ass off, and she was mortified. He went with us and fired her as his agent on the spot.
Love that. Good. Karma's a
You could say bitch. It's fine.
yeah, no, love that.
Yeah.
It's just, that's like me using, do I use Polish, being fluent in Polish to my advantage sometimes? 100%.
Has
But
that ever bitten you back though?
no, because I still, even in public, like I still watch what I say. Even with my parents being here, you know, like my dad sometimes will walk around, say shit in Polish without thinking of consequences, and then all of a sudden we literally went to this farm on North Shore, North Fork.
There's a huge Polish population
and
out here.
the lady by the register was Polish. We had no idea. So my dad started speaking. Thank God he didn't say anything stupid, because then she would have been like, you know, like, what the hell? But you definitely have to watch.
I feel like Spanish people like that, like that's over with.
Yeah.
Like there's too many people that know Spanish.
Spanish,
that it's just like,
I mean, in general, here in America, it's just one of those places where no language is safe realistically. You never know.
No,
You just don't know.
you know who talks the most trash from what I hear is Asian people in nail salons. It's like
for sure.
Yeah, they will.
Like, ew, these toes are nasty.
Yeah, they say some, like, it was funny because a guy like recorded it, and it's just like he knows, you know, or whatever the language was, because it could have been something different.
It could have been a lot of
Yeah.
different things,
But like, you know, then they just he responded like, oh yeah, no, it's and they were just again shocked. In that level. It's just like, you should try to be mindful of what you say to people and be kind to them. But you know, it's funny though when people think they're safe, and it's just like, but it's also nice to see people's true colors in that sense.
For
just
sure.
like the way that I did that one time, pure English, but it was just like I had a buddy of mine, and I forgive him in this stance, but he basically hooked me up to do a gig for photos for this band. I shot the photos, and then we went out to like eat or something like that. And then like he was giving him a call, so I ended up just like telling him, oh, just tell him the shoot went terribly, like the photos are shit, blah 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 blah. And then he got on the phone and told him about that, like, and then as soon as he told him that, he was just like, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't really know Darylus like that. He like, you know, like and then he just talked like, at first I would understand if like you're trying to save yourself in that sense of just like, oh, I'm so sorry, and then like try to like, you know, appease that.
Right.
But he just went on to just talk so much trash about me afterwards.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
which
really elongated the process there.
like literally, I've had that situation happen to me, and basically I just apologized to the person, and it was just like, I'll talk to them about it, you know, and see what happened. You know, not that I can resolve the situation, but let me just talk to them and see, and try to at least better them in some way. But yeah, it was just funny to see, you know, him, you know, turn it, because at the end of the convo, he was like, yo, I was just kidding about all that. It was like, and he was like, oh, don't tell Dallas I said none of this. Like, you know, it was like, I already heard
he
it.
was trying to save himself, kind of.
Yeah, of course. You know, I'm doing some like,
That's crazy,
but at the same time, I sort of understand it because he's trying to save himself from a client and stuff like that. And you know, you never know like what he had to go through particularly. But yeah, talking that much, that's why you should try to reserve yourself from saying too much for other people in particular situations, you know?
I agree.
Yeah, but it was
Comes
funny.
with respect, though, too. If you're a respectful person, I don't think you're going to be walking around and, you know, belittling other people regardless, you know?
Oh, yeah. But
like this lady should have been just like, hey, you know, this offer might seem appealing to you, but do you mind hearing out somebody else's offer, you know, instead of being like, oh, these people suck, you know, they're gonna screw you over and now you lost the job because you talk shit.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. I've never talked shit. Like
Yeah.
with behind the scenes with Victor, like I always say some shit, like more, But that's between me and Victor.
Right.
And like when you feel comfortable,
Trusted source, yeah.
and it's just like like
Unfiltered thoughts.
yeah, exactly. So to say that I don't talk or nobody like you don't ever talk shit, excuse me, about somebody or some
No,
shit.
we all do.
Yeah.
And that's why it's just like, but being mindful, and that's why it's like hard for me to judge somebody when they feel like they're in that circle or
Right.
like that space, and then they let loose, and it's just like they're trying to save their own skin, and
Right.
it's just like I get it, but at the same time, one of my exes, I love her for this, but she was just like, yeah, I don't fuck with that, like like that dude again, but I was like. Doesn't matter. He treated you nicely, like when he met you. Like I get that you wouldn't trust him further down, but like, but I still enjoy the fact that she was like just shit talking about him, just like no, fuck that motherfucker. Like I was like, Jesus. Just like,
Also, I think the way you talk about it too shows a lot. I mean, like even when we're talking about things, and you do this a lot. It's like just tend to preface as like, I don't know the whole story, but
yeah,
Based on what I know, this
is
fucked
really
up.
what's making me feel like, and like this is like I really hope it's
Yeah.
not this way, but I'm really gonna be off the wall if it is.
Yeah,
like because it's really like you're expressing.
Yeah.
And you're
Exactly.
acknowledging like I don't have the full story.
Right.
So we're gonna keep that to where it is.
Yeah.
But I swear,
pissed.
if it's anything like it seems like right now, but that's good. I mean, you should have people you can be like
Yeah.
safe like that around,
Release emotions.
but
Venting, yeah.
but like there's already that mindset of like you're not already like full out blaming the person,
Right.
you're already like you don't know the full situation, but you already have feelings in a certain way, and it's already looking a certain way to you. So it's like this is just it. I'm doing this to you because we can talk about this before I go and
I'm heavy
really
mode.
rectify the situation.
It's so funny because I had this little the same idea in my head, like when a friend of mine didn't text me back quick enough, and then I'm just going through routines and like just every
Rabbit holes.
scenario. Yeah, exactly. Like just like
I do that all the
like
time.
yeah, just like and I try to bring myself back, like because
yourself, yeah.
because it's just like what? Why am I mad? And then like I try to break that down and try to understand about myself. It's just like
Good. Very
and then
good.
like try to see like because like he's not giving me any more time, and I miss him, and that's
Right,
why
I
I'm
need it.
angry. Yeah,
Right.
but like he's also now in a loving relationship,
Right.
and I should encourage that and bless him. Like, hey, like I wish you well in your next chapter, instead of like feeling like some type of way. But it's understandable to understand that anger and like to be like 'cause-
Acceptive of it
yeah,
too. You have to like
'cause-
accept it.
exactly, because a lot of people at the same time like and it's funny because it's the same friend. He doesn't like being told that he's angry or like in that like he doesn't for some reason, like he always, I think like when he was raised he was brought up to think that you shouldn't be angry, like I'm not being angry, I'm not angry. It's
So he
like
gets defensive.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
okay,
It's just like where it's just like anger isn't a bad thing.
Right.
It's what you do with that emotion
Right.
that like because everybody feels angry. I feel
Yeah.
angry. Like people think I'm calm, but mostly I'm angry. Like Vic could tell you.
People
it's
think you're calm.
yeah, like I feel like just chill in some ways, I guess. Yeah, but like I do try to I do feel like I'm angry most of the time, but then I'm just like I don't find my anger to be a negative. I
Right.
just find it to be like
It's an emotion.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just like I feel like it guides me in ways of just like, okay, I'm angry about this, and why am I angry now? Like, and it's taking me time to realize that and take it back of just like I need patience to go
Right.
along with this anger and just understanding and empathy,
Right.
because without those things you're just gonna be lost in those feelings, and that's the danger of all that.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I'll also add as like a person who used to never say I was ever angry.
yeah,
as a person who used every other adjective of like frustrated.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
this
use
is
the
that.
anger.
Yeah, and I'm
fucking
like,
angry.
and like that was like a big nugget to me where it was
Yeah.
like because I know I grew up with I saw anger as a unnecessary emotion that just complicated problems and never led to a solution. It's just delayed solutions and complicated problems
Yeah.
for no reason at all
Mhm.
that I could see. And so like early age, I labeled that as like unnecessary bad. But of course, it's normal part of life. What's bad
Yes.
is how you
React
react
to
to
it.
it, and like
The actions
you said.
behind your anger.
So I
Yeah.
remember a therapist when I was talking to him, I was explaining, he's like, "You're angry.
Angry.
You're not frustrated. You
You're-
are
like, what?
angry."
What? I'm not angry.
I'm not angry.
Like, I'm not at all angry
That
right
makes,
now.
that makes you angry, and you need to own that. And it's
Yeah.
not like, don't worry, it's not a bad thing. But if you don't own it, then you never process it, and then
Right.
it's just gonna build up, and then that's how you get to these things and
Oh,
outbursts and
funny.
stuff that you can't control that are getting in your way
Yeah.
because you don't like own it. And then when you
Right.
can own it, then you can process it
Right.
properly. And I was just like, I feel like that's with like people who say like, I'm never angry or get defensive about angry. At
Mhm.
one point in their life, they labeled it as like the worst thing possible to be. So
Yeah.
it's like, but it's like you can't help it because it's like you will get sad, you will be happy, you'll be angry.
Right.
Different points in your life, you know.
Any solution has in order to find a solution, you need to be acceptive, and like you said, you have to own the emotion or your action, and
Mhm.
you have to accept it too.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
when the
okay
solution starts flowing.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's also like okay to like have an emotion in a moment, but like let me put this to the side
Right.
because right now we need to
Mhm.
solve the problem. But that doesn't mean put it under the rug and forget that it ever happened.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
now I need to readdress like,
Right.
okay, we got the solution. Great. Now we got to talk about how this really ticked me off because that's also not okay, you
Right.
know.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. I mean, it's a good bounce back. I feel like at least to be able to look back and then talk to somebody else. It's just like,
Mhm.
and I do that with Vic all the time. It's like, is my anger justified? Like, or am I like, should I just
Being reactive.
Yeah, and it's just like, how should I
Emotional.
like gauge this? And
Mhm.
and it's nice to have somebody that's so grounded,
Right.
because you don't lose yourself that much,
I agree.
So there's that. So I think we're gonna end today with that positive note for all of you right there.
Love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Your emotions are valid, whether you're
Yes.
angry or happy.
Just don't be a
feel it,
sociopath. Yeah.
please, or psychopath.
Yeah.
process them healthily, please.
Well, I mean, you can't help if you're a psychopath.
Yeah, you were born that way, shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny though. It's
Literally different brain chemistry.
like- no, it's just funny to be like, I was born that way. I think a Lady Gaga song. And it's
Yeah,
just like,
it's exactly.
yeah, that's I guess not good at all. Like certain
No.
points,
But
you know.
I will say, I looked up before,
Okay.
are all serial killers psychopaths?
Yeah.
And no, actually,
Thought so.
they say that there is a lot of psychopathic people in the world that operate in society very well.
Yes.
Because the fact is, yes, they're not emotionally in tune and stuff like that, but they are very driven, motivated, goal-oriented people because they're so cold about that. And that a lot of them, their goals and their motivations, if locked into something conducive to society, is very better. Like they can live out a very normal, society contributing life,
that
But-
psychopath saved the world. Like,
And
nice.
serial killers tend to vary greatly in behavior, psychodynamics, and motivation. So yes, there are serial killers that are psychopaths, but not all serial killers are psychopaths. They tend to vary. Some are sociopaths,
Right.
some are other things, and same. Not all psychopaths are serial killers, like I said.
Cool.
So it's just they have
Thanks.
different brain chemistry.
So we learned something new.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every
The
day.
more you know. Yeah.
The wiser you get.
Yeah, that is.
Yay.
All right, guys. So join us next week as we'll read a couple more stories or have a guest. I don't know. We'll figure it out. You'll be here. So surprise.
And the Halloween's approaching, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun.
Some
Some surprises coming. No?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say
Maybe.
that, but okay.
Okay. Save it. Cut it.
Yeah.
All right.
Alright.
Well, thanks for joining us, guys. See you
And
next week.
remember,
What? Oh,
yeah,
follow, subscribe, buy us a coffee.
yeah.
What else?
Oh,
Give us some love.
yeah, and give Paulina parents love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jesus.
We had a guest appearance over here. We got my dad stressed out for a second, but he killed it.
Yeah, he did.
Thanks, guys, for being here. See you next time.